Hey everyone, this lab assignment is just going to make sure you know how to create a simple map in TerrSet, load some data, and then save the map that you created in a document folder on your computer. When you first start up TerrSet through Citrix, you're going to arrive at this screen here. And for this assignment, you're just going to work in the default project, which is right there. And then you've got the files that are already loaded for you in this default project. One of the next things you're going to do is create your own folder on your own computer. And this is this can be a little tricky, so it might take a couple of tries for you to get it right. But remember that when we're working in TerrSet, we're working in that virtual computer environment. So even though you see here it says C drive, it's not actually on your real actual computer at home. This is on CSUN's virtual computer. But you will need to save some documents and some maps to your own computer for this assignment. All right, so what you're going to do is create a new folder, and you can do that either on a Windows or on a Mac. And if you're not sure how to do that, here's some real brief instructions on how to do that. And I recommend naming this folder something like your initials with critical GIS files, just so that it's really clear that it's the right folder that you're trying to save in. All right, so back to our projects folder in TerrSet. What you're going to do here is to load a raster image and a vector file and create a map composition out of it. So we've got our files here, and what you're going to do is to go here to this icon for the display launcher, and we're going to, and there's the default choice here is raster layer. We're going to leave that and go over here and select these three dots here, these ellipses, for our pig list. And since we've selected raster layer over here, the only files that are going to be shown in this list are only raster images. We're going to scroll down here and find Sierra NDVI and click OK. Now, NDVI is a special term in remote sensing that refers to biomass and how much photosynthetic activity is going on. It's calculated through the use of satellite or aerial photographs. So we're going to leave that here. And you'll see over here on the right side of this window, different palettes. These are different color schemes that we can use. And we're going to select the NDVI palette and then click OK. And then we get an image here that says NDVI vegetation index. The next thing is we want to load a layer to drape over this NDVI satellite image. And I'll show you the wrong way to do it first, because this is this happens a lot when we're using TerrSet for the first time, is that we just open up another layer and then they don't actually match up. So I'm going to show you the wrong way first, which is display launcher, and we're going to click vector layer, and we're going to look for Sierra Forest. Okay, if you open the pick list and you don't see Sierra Forest, then make sure that you've selected vector layer over here, because if it's still on raster layer, then the layer will not become visible. So click OK. And over here, we're going to use a user-defined palette called forest, and which should be selected by default. If we click those ellipses, click OK, and you'll see forest right here. And then we click all right. And then we got the other layer has displayed, but they are not overlaying each other. They're in two separate windows. All right, this is not necessarily a bad thing. This is how TerrSet software is designed, is that we usually just work with separate layers as standalone layers a lot of times. But for this purposes, we want to make a map with those two layers appearing together at the same place. So let's close this window right here, and we're going to do it the right way this time. So instead of going to the display launcher, what you'll do is go over here to the right side of your screen where you see the composer window. So let's click this. So we see our one layer here that we've already opened, Sierra NDVI. And please look down here towards the bottom here, and we've got some icons. And you're going to look at this icon with like a little piece of paper with a plus symbol, and that is for add layer. So click on this add layer, and we get the same window that pops up. And so for this one, that is where we're going to select vector layer. And from here, we select Sierra Forest. Click OK. And then for our symbol file, click those ellipses, make sure forest is selected, click OK, and then click OK once more. And then we get our two layers displaying inside one map composition. Okay, well, next we've got to clean this up a little bit, which is usually what we have to do in GIS. That the default settings are not usually the most helpful in any kind of GIS software. And so let's look back over at the composer window, and we'll see that Sierra NDVI is on top here in the list, and Sierra Forest is below. That does not really match what we've got in our actual map composition window. What we see is Sierra Forest is actually the one that is on top, and then Sierra NDVI is underneath. This is just the way that TerrSet works, is that it kind of works from the bottom up in a kind of reverse way. So Sierra Forest is actually the bottom in the composer window, but that's actually what is the most visible. Now let's change up this symbology to make Sierra Forest a little bit more transparent so that we can see the areas that are beneath this forest polygon. So we can turn on and off layers like this. You can click the check marks. You can click these check marks. Now, keep in mind that whenever we adjust anything to the symbology or the colors or anything like that, you've got to make sure that the layer you want to work on is selected up here in the composer window. So right here, Sierra NDVI is selected, and now I'm going to select Sierra Forest. What we need to do is to change this solid green symbol, which just represents all of the forested areas in this mountain range. We want to change that to somewhat of a transparent layer. So we're going to make sure that Sierra Forest is selected. Go down here to this lower left icon that says Layer Properties. Click on that. And we'll see that the symbol file is currently showing as forest, and we're going to click on this advanced palette / symbol selection button. So click on this, and then we're going to run over here. We've got an advanced settings window that comes up. And then the left side here, we're going to click none for data relationship. And then we're going to click symbol type for X stripe. And what that is going to do is give us a crosshatch pattern inside each one of those polygons instead of a solid color fill. We're going to click over here on the blue for a blue color logic, and then click OK. And then you'll see the map change. Let's go ahead and click OK in our layer properties to make sure that sets. And you see in our map composition that we now have a somewhat transparent forest symbol with our NDVI satellite image underneath. All right, so we're pretty much finished now with putting our map together. We got to do a little few last steps here. One is we got to make sure that your name is on this map, and to do that, you're going to go into the map properties. So go back to the composer window. Over here on the lower left side, you'll see a compass rose like a north symbol. That's for map properties. So this is map properties. Click on this map properties, and then you'll see a lot of tabs here that give you a lot of customization options. All you're going to do for this assignment is click on the tab titles right there. And then you see the title here is NDVI Vegetation Index. All I want you to do is put your mouse cursor here at the beginning and then type your name so that I know it's yours. And you can put a little dash there just to separate the rest of the title here. We want to make sure that check mark is checked for visible so that the title shows up, and click OK. And then you get your name here at the top of this map. Now you are ready to save this file. So let's do this. And How you do that is go back to your composer window, and we've got our little save icon here, save map composition. You're going to click on this, and you want to make sure that the default thing is probably selected first. You want to select save to Windows bitmap this time. There's a few different ways we can save maps in TerrSet, but if we do it this option, Windows bitmap, it's actually just going to save an image. It's going to save an image file that you could use to post or to upload. It's just going to make that map an standalone image. So we save that option for BMP. We're going to go down here to output file name. Before you start typing in a file name, what you need to do is find your folder that you've created on your own computer. So you're going to click the ellipses here. And since we are working in the virtual environment through Citrix, this can be a little bit tricky. So one of the things to watch out for is that with our Citrix environment, you do get something called My Documents that says Z Drive. That's kind of a network folder. At this point, we're not going to use it for this assignment because it can be a little bit tricky to find the files in here if you need to upload anything into Canvas. So that's why I want you to create your own folder in your actual real documents folder on your real computer. So how you do that is to go to this drop-down menu right here, and you're going to look for your local disk, and it's probably going to be C. And so if it says local disk C, that is probably your actual computer. You'll pick this. And then there are a few different ways, depending on your computer, if it's a Windows or a Mac, that you're going to have to navigate through some folders to find your documents. So on mine, for example, I go into users, and then I find my name here, and then I go into my documents. And there you'll find your folder you can save your GIS files to. All right, so we're going to just open up and go into that folder where you want to save your file, and then go down here to file name, and it's got this temporary name that is put, and you just want to save it with your. So type in your what I suggest is type in your initials and then TerrSet Sierra map and click save, and then click OK again, and it's going to save. And if you then open up your documents folder, you will find the BMP file here, and you could even open it, and we can see, and you can see the file the map composition that you've created. And there you go. That is making your first map in TerrSet. I want to make sure that everybody can follow this workflow so that when we do things that are a little bit more complicated, the workflow is already figured out.